The floor is yours. Doesn't look good. You unplug it again and put it.
You can try with USB-C.
One second. That's it.
Okay. Looks good.
Thank you, Daniel,
Thank you,
for
Viktor.
introduction. Yeah. Thank you for having me here. My talk will be about the DMQ again, like the past year. I start from my name. My name is Viktor, and I am originally from Ukraine. And I really said that I should repeat my words from the last year. Please support Ukraine. War is still going. Now I'm living in Spain and working with a Netophone. But this talk will be made my own. It's not related to the Netophone and to my work there. So quick reminder, what is the KDMQ, this Kamailio distributed message queue. It uses SIP as a transport. It used like SIP message, special SIP method that's called KDMQ. There are three main things in each DMQ message. It's a node. There are always two nodes, like source and destination. Peer, that you can see as a user in the SIP message. It will be in all users, from to in request URI. And the data that you will see as a body. There are now currently supported two types of bodies. It's JSON and plain text. Plain text is used only in one place for the identification bureau. So there are 5 models that currently support the DMQ. It's user allocation, presence, hash table, RTP engine, and dialog. And also you can replicate any data you want from the script. So DMQ works well. I'm using it, we are using it, I think someone else uses it, but nothing is perfect. So what we can improve in the Kamailio distributed message queue? So again, DMQ is a SIP, with all pros and cons, and what if it will not use SIP? But how? I implemented 2 new functions for DMQ model. It's called DMQ handle custom and DMQ process custom. The difference between them that one of them handle the message at the same process, and another one send it to the queue that taken, and this queue is like working on another process by the DMQ model itself. So using these functions and the event route local request, you can stop to use SIP to send in data. This is the syntaxes of these new functions. What we have there only 4 parameters, like the peer name, node, that is SIP URI, body, that's any body, and the content type, again, plain text or application JSON, because there are only 2 currently supported data. This is a small example how you can use it. You need like only 3 models and 1 more model that you will use the data from what model you will replicate. And my example is htable. Using DMQ transaction and table model and nuts, that is like the generally used message queue. My example is not, but you can use Rabbit, you can use Kafka, you can use like every you want, like even HTTP Like it's and what is done there, like the event route, not such table. This is event route when like that is fired when we are receiving some data from nuts. So we are separated for some queue or for some topic. I'm not sure how it's called in nuts. When we're receiving the data, we just handle this data. There's some just JSON data. No need, like we are subscribing to the HTable topic, receiving data about the HTable, and that's it. In an event route, local request that is fired when some local request created, we are filtering by KDMQ method and especially by the user HTable, because we are interested only in HTables here. We're just doing publishing this data, and we are doing drop. It's really important. You need to drop this message if you don't want for this message to be sent via SIP. But at the same time, you can check the returned value of nuts publish function, and if there is some issue or problem with publishing this data, you can fall back to SIP, and you can still you will have two ways to replicate your data, using the message queue or using the old one, SIP. So this is the fallback. And one more thing that I want to highlight, that DMQ, like everyone who use DMQ, they use it for replicating data from Kamailio to another Kamailio, between them, between Kamailio instances. But what I'm proposing you to do here, using this simple code, is to share data from Kamailio to any other application you want. Like every backend developer, web developer, call them how you want, they know how to use Kafka or Rabbit. And probably in your product or a product where you're involved, there is already some message queue. For example, in my practice, we have a task, really common task. We want to share the registration data. And what we are doing now, we are publishing this data when we are receiving some registration. But then we found that when the registration is expired, we don't know about this and we not replicate this data. So we need to add it in one more place. Then we understand that when TCP connection is closed by the client, we are deleting this location from user location, but we are not replicating. And we added one more. What you can do with DMQ, you don't need to replicate it between Kamailios, but you can use the DMQ model to share the data with your web application using, again, Rabbit, Kafka, any MQTT, for example. So this is the main thing, that it's not only can be used not only to replicate the data between different Kamailio model instances or nodes, you can use it to replicate data between your web application and Kamailio. And this is the general way, I would say it like this, because you can handle any data for any model that supports DMQ. Is it presence or user location? The way is the same, always. You only need the two routes, that's it. Just enable DMQ for your model. So, but what if you back to SIP and using DMQ over SIP? So there are few things that should be improved. There are 4 of them. I described them as 4, the memory consumption and performance, cluster management and versioning, data synchronization, and conflict resolution. Let's go one by one. First one, memory consumption, and performance. DMQ is a SIP. It's SIP. We know that Kamailio works perfectly with a SIP. We know that. But it's SIP. And originally, for each DMQ message that are sending, DMQ model create a transaction. And you know that creating a transaction is a bit hard operation. You need to take a memory for it. You should fire some timer and check the status of this transaction, etc., etc., etc. So, what is the solution? Like, but do we need this state? Do we need the transaction for each message? I think no. Only model where, like, only peer or model that is needed for the transaction is notification peer. Notification peer is the peer of DMQ model itself, and it's used to manage the cluster. So ended up that sending the messages statefully, so with the transaction, makes sense only for the messages that has the custom callback. It means that I care about the response. And for now, this is only notification peer. For any other messages, we can send it without any transaction, without creating the transaction. So the new parameter was added. It's called SL send. It's the DMQ parameter. You just set it to something that not equal to 0, and that's it. And you are sending almost everything in stateless, without any transaction. But again, like, to be sure that the data was sent and received by any other node, you can simply use TCP. You don't need any transaction, anything. You use TCP, and that's it. Just connect all your instances using the TCP and send data statelessly. And there are something that should be improved still, like there always something. And this is like the DMQ model main loop, because it's a busy loop. It's something that Daniel talked about earlier, and this is especially critical for ARM64. There was something already done for ARM64, but we still missed one part for this DMQ model. Let's go to the second topic that should be improved. This is the cluster management and versioning. And what was done, 2 new RPC commands was added. Right now there was only 2 commands: delete node from the cluster list, node list, and show node list. So I added 2 new commands: add, so just to add a new node to the cluster, and change status for the node that is there already in the list. Also, by my colleague Stefan, we added the parameter DMQ peer ID. This parameter was added for each model that used DMQ. And why we need it? So there was already a notification channel parameter, and it was like, this is parameter of the DMQ model, and it was really useful to isolate different nodes in the cluster. Like, you can have different notification channel for one part of the cluster and for another, and they will not communicate with each other, like never, because like the notification channel is different. But what if we want to isolate like newly deployed version of application, or the newly deployed Kamailios that has like some not backward compatible changes? We can change the same DMQ peer ID as the notification channel, but for specific model. For example, if you updated your Kamailio and you know that in a user allocation model, the data structure for the DMQ changed, you just manually change the DMQ peer ID. I think this is the example. Sorry, move it a bit, but like you can set the version, we call it version, but it's like DMQ peer ID. It can be any string. Again, it's just a user in a SIP message. So this is the ID and that you can set for each model, and this gives you a way, give us a way to manipulate the different version of the cluster, or even like different parts. For example, if you are deploying our cluster in a few different regions, and we, for example, want to share only user location between all of them, but not, for example, RTP engine data or presence, like we just set in the presence, and RTP engine we set DMQ peer ID to be region specific, something like presence, I don't know, US East 1, for example. Then we can be sure that this presence will be not shared with nodes that are in US East 2 or US West, in any other region. And again, there are stuff that should be improved and can be improved. The notification peer design, I think it should be redesigned, but it's pretty difficult. Like I already told, the notification peer is only peer that use plain text still. Any other model, they're using JSON. And the notification peer always have like the same body, like just a list of CPRIs, that's it. There is no commands or actions, as them call it in any other model that use DMQ. Like, we need to discuss what we should do this. And especially I think that especially it should be designed from the beginning with understanding that we are using this. We can use this with again, like Rabbit, Kafka, other stuff, because notification peer can be also and should be replicated with Kafka or other message broker. Data synchronization. Almost every model that supports DMQ has this sync action. Again, notification peer doesn't have any actions. So any other model that share the data has this action, but this is something that was missed for RTP engine and was added by my colleague, Vladislav. There was, I won't say this was the problem, but this was like by design, and there was a question last year about this. By default and by design, when new node become available in the cluster, it starts to synchronize it with all the nodes in the cluster, with each of the nodes. But like, should it? Like, do we need this? Because if with the cluster is everything fine, then like each node has all the status of the cluster. And you need to just synchronize with a single node. So this synchronization is something that is done on initialization of the Kamailio. So this option init with single was added, and it is already in master, so you can try to use it. What else can be done with the sync? So the sync process itself should be improved, definitely. Right now, synchronization done only when you are spinning up a new node, and like on the start of Kamailio, I would say like this. So if one of the nodes in the cluster will temporarily like lose the connectivity with any other node or with all other nodes at the same time, then like we don't have any callback, any way to do the synchronization. Only way to do the synchronization is restart Kamailio, but this is something that we don't want to do. So the idea is to add one more callback that will be fired on status change. There is also like advanced sync process that can be discussed later. Conflict resolution, and I have like the easiest way to resolve the conflict is last write win. This is something that was done by Stefan, that sit there, and it's done only for user location and present models right now because they has all needed data for this. And like in the future, what we should do, we should add this to all other models, but they are not right now. They don't have all needed data. That's it. Thank you for flying Kamailio.
Thank you, Viktor. So we start to run a bit late, but let's have a quick question if someone wants to ask about DMQ until Ramona is setting up. We have Tori.
So you showed how you can take a KDMQ message and then turn it into a NAT and stuff. Have you given any thought of trying to do the reverse? So say like consuming events from Kafka and then turning that.
Yeah, hold on. Exactly. This NATs H table.
Okay, so the DMQ handle custom will take that care of the reverse direction. Okay.
Yeah, so you are receiving the data from the same topic, but from other nodes or from any other application, and handle this data. And it's automatically like handle it as a DMQ message, but it's not true SIP DMQ message, but it update all needed structures inside the Kamailio, inside the cache.
Okay, nice. Thank you, Viktor. Thank you again also for the other contributions.